And welcome to the Daily Space Weather. It's a perfect day to switch from being frightened of an inactive sun to being frightened of an active sun. What's frightening you today on YouTube? Let us know in the comments what you are scared of because of grifters claiming that the end is near. We won't be saying it here at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. Our finest days lie ahead. Filament Fest, as well as new sunspot rising. So we've got a new sunspot group in the south, just rising over the southeastern limb. Massive filaments associated with it. There are coronal mass ejections to cover as well. The sunspot group rising in the northeast is gigantic. It's already beta gamma class. We've got massive filaments in the northwest, including the Ye filament, named after Ye, previously known as Kanye West. We got the Renee filament up here, also still hanging out. We've also got some rather significant sunspot groups setting in the southwest, increasing the likelihood of them producing major flares. Don't be surprised to see an M or an X-class flare from this group. So lots of stuff going on. And one more thing, CMEs. Yeah, CMEs. I almost forgot to show it at the beginning of the video. But there it is. A series of CMEs, otherwise known as coronal mass ejections. Are any of them directed toward Earth? Are they headed our way? We'll let you know later in the video. First, let's take a look at sunspots. Again, multiple additional sunspot groups here. So this group here will get a name today. This group up here is a new sunspot group. This sunspot group down here. So we have like 4 new sunspot groups to get names. That imagery is from yesterday plus today. That's the SDO intensitygram. Here is the SDO magnetogram. So we continue reaching new highs here in solar activity. We'll get to that in a moment. First, let's take a look at volcanoes. Now, I wish Volcano Discovery would do a better job telling us which volcano this is, because I have no idea what volcano that is. Glowing steam from the lava flow traveling down the slope. Imaged by Boris Benke. Boris Benke. Yes, I have no idea where it is. Moving on. Etna is erupting effusively. So, lava cascading down the slopes of Etna. Also some gas venting and water vapor emissions. Merapi also exploding. The heck? Merapi also exploding. Ash plume drifting east-northeast. No indication of the size of the ash plume there. Carinci producing a 14,000-foot ash plume over Sumatra. Popocatépetl exploding, flight level 220, 22,000-foot ash plume over central Mexico. Fuego exploding, flight level 150. Nevado de Ruiz exploding, flight level 200 over Colombia. It's a 20,000-foot ash plume. 21,000-foot ash plume from Sangay in Ecuador as it explodes, also Revenador exploding. 15,000-foot ash plume, flight level 150 over Revenador. Cotopaxi also exploding in Ecuador. Ecuador, the most volcanically active country in the world. Cotopaxi producing a 23,000-foot ash plume. Now moving down to Peru, Sabancaya exploding, flight level 240. It's a 24,000-foot ash plume. Last but not least, Villarrica. Looks like things are calming down a little bit there. No indication on any ash plume sizes, although we would advise you to please not pole vault the caldera. It could be unhealthful. Just saying, folks. Could be unhealthful. Anyway, earthquake activity has calmed down here a little bit, and thanks for leaving a comment, Tinman1057. So yeah, earthquake activity's calmed down a little bit. There's the last 90 days in convenient bar graph form from volcanodiscovery.com. And here is our list of volcanoes. Our list of earthquakes. Yes. So it's been quite calm here over the past 24 hours. There was a nearly 600-kilometer depth quake there at Fiji at a 5.5 magnitude. If that would have happened at the surface, that would have been like a 7 magnitude quake. Besides that, it looks like nothing even above a 5 magnitude. Keep in mind, any earthquake could be a foreshock, and let's get back to space. It's where the action's at, a prime example of how you can have lots of activity on the sun and not a lot of activity on the Earth. Again, it's a perfect day to shift your fear from being afraid of an inactive sun to being afraid of an active sun. So let's all shift. I'm just kidding, folks. The sun is not scary. Space is not scary. The galaxy is not scary. We have had a relativistic particle spike. We'll show that here momentarily. First to last 24 in ionized helium. There was a recent M-class flare. Should be right at the end of the video there. I think it came from this setting group down here. So, in any case, lots of activity. The 10.7 centimeter radio flux just reached a new high. Once again, it's now at 212 solar flux units. So how's that grand solar minimum working out? You can keep chanting the same thing over and over again like a cultist, but it's not going to make your forecasts come true. Radio flux now at 212, sunspot number surpassing 200. Moving right along to the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard, which is forecasting no sort of geomagnetic unrest or geomagnetic storms in the coming days. Is it clear between Earth and Sun? Or is there a CME headed our way? Again, we'll let you know later in the video about that. KP index here, very calm at 2.33. And for you new viewers, the planetary K index is a measurement of global geomagnetism. So here's Earth's magnetic moment from space, out to about 12 Earth diameters. Check it out, it's croissant Earth. To quote Seinfeld, saying the Earth is croissant-shaped is funny because it's true. Its magnetic field moment from space is indeed croissant-shaped. Yeah, anyway, that's the last 4 hours of Earth's magnetic moment from space. Here's Earth's magnetic moment from the ground level. Earth's magnetic field depicted here. The previous imagery was Earth's geomagnetic field, and both are runs of the past 4 hours of activity. And let's continue on to the real-time solar wind. So we did have some minor CME interactions, it looks like here. Some very little fleeting, sputtering incoming CMEs, coronal mass ejections. They were very minor. And we do have some instrument switching here. When you see the green and blue bars at the bottom, that means blue is the discover, green is the ace. And that's what a lot of these changes are, actually, switching from the discover to the ace. If you see a pink line, it means they're both being used. And at the moment, we've got the ace. Last readings were about 3 protons per cubic centimeter for the solar wind density, solar wind speed, about 370 kilometers per second. Fairly uneventful in the past 24 hours. Let's look at magnetic data. There are your GOES magnetometers. And those satellites having to do a little bit of maneuvering there to maintain their geosynchronous orbits at about 22,500 feet of altitude. And there is your line of sight ecliptic plane field plot. Now, this imagery is derived from 51 ground-based magnetometers and magnetometers on stereo A at Lagrange 5 and stereo B at Lagrange 4. And Earth has just in the past few hours moved into a North Pole current sheet depicted here in green. And let's take a brief look at the solar line of sight field plot. Solar B field in blue, north solar polar field in green, south solar polar field in red. And let's move to coronal holes. So coronal holes are super important for the solar cycles as they show us the magnetic field reversal process. Of course, coronal holes weren't known about until the 1970s because, well, they can't really be seen except from space. Well, at least by then they weren't seen except from space. Anyway, that's our line of sight field plot. We've got North Pole oriented coronal holes here rotating in the east. Let's take a look at those in 211 angstroms. You should see these getting a little more well-defined as we forecasted a couple of days ago. That's the last 24 hours from SDO. That's 211 angstroms. It looks like the Yay filament is becoming a little bit unstable there. Is it about to eject? Let us know in the comments what you think. And it's time to move to sunspots. And we'll have at least 2 new named sunspot groups today. Certainly we'll have 3189 and 3190. There might be 3 or 4 new named sunspot groups today. So we've got a setting 3181. We may see an increase in the sunspot number. Again, this group up here is gigantic, and it has quite complex magnetic fields. Here's the last 24 hours in SDO magnetogram. Let's zoom in a little bit. And here's your SDO continuum imagery next. So we'll have at least 2 new named sunspot groups, possibly 3 or 4. And sunspot number, not sure if it will rise or stay about level, but it won't significantly drop. And there's the full disk zoom out. Solar cycle 25. It's a long way to solar maximum. We did have a proton event here also. It started just after midnight. Actually, it started a little bit before midnight here at about 11:30 p.m. Universal Time. Probably had minor polar radio blackouts there, but they have since subsided. A series of M-class flares have occurred. And let's take a look at 94 angstroms and 131 angstroms. So there's 131. We've got multiple regions capable of producing large flares. That last M flare was from this setting region down here. So in my opinion, the most likely places to see a major solar flare at the moment are, again, from this group, as we said yesterday and the past couple of days, well, yesterday at least, and this group up here. They're both very close to the limb, and they're both quite magnetically complex. We'll show you that magnetic field complexity toward the end of the video before the meteorology segment. Here's 94 angstroms also. Great imagery there of the suspended plasma here, suspended by the magnetic fields of that new sunspot in the northeast. It is impressive indeed. And thanks for leaving comments, One Audio. Next, let's take a step back and see what's going on over our heads in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. If you want to make your own star chart, this is in-the-sky.org. This chart is the all-sky chart. Just put in your location if you want to build your own sky chart, star chart. Stay calm, folks. Don't shart. The sun is not going to kill you. People might kill you. The sun's not going to kill you. Let's do a solar system forecast as we move to the lonely side of the solar system, the part with no gas giants. Let's do a 1-week forecast. Here's where things will be in a week. As we approach the January new moon, we will have a crescent waning. Shout out to all my reverse werewolves. And let's take a look at some coronagraphs. So here are yesterday's coronagraphs, complete with computerized interpolation there by George Mason University on the left. And if you're wondering if those CMEs are earthly directed, we're almost there. We'll show you the analysis, not just tell you. Here are today's images. You can see the tail end of that CME that happened late last night Universal Time. Let's take a look at stereo A at Lagrange 5 and Soho Lasco C3 at Lagrange 1. So we actually paused this here right near the end of the stereo A imagery. Now, Earth would be off on this line from the perspective of stereo A. Let's go back here. Stereo A located here at Lagrange 5. Again, Earth would be off to the right. And if you're wondering if we've got any ejecta moving in that way, I was too this morning. We don't see any. So lots of CMEs here on the other side of the sun, way off to the north. And that one is off to the south. We've got CMEs on the opposite side of the sun here. Some folks might forecast an earthly directed CME there. I'm not buying it. Now, there is some more data that we're waiting for to come out from stereo A here, most likely. And also, thanks for leaving a comment, Stevo8778. Good morning to all of our viewers on Twitch. This video was originally streamed at twitch.tv/smashomash. So here are the last 24 hours. Again, none of those CMEs appear to have any earthly directed components. Here's a further zoom out. It's just a spectacular light show. And even if those were earthly directed, still probably not going to kill you. You might see some aurorae at mid-latitudes if those were earthly directed, but they're not, so let's move on. And just to reiterate, an active sun is not scary, and neither is an inactive sun, unless it gets really inactive, and that's not what we're seeing. For example, we've got a filament fest. So all those dark absorption features, that is a massive number of filaments, especially in the southern hemisphere. And I've frankly lost track. I mean, we've got the Renee Gable up here. We've got the Yay right here. We've got the Bill Nye, which has become a prominence like the Renee Gable filament. We've also got the Zach Tovin, which is this one here. We've got the Liver King, which has just ejected. And then this one here needs a name for sure. That one there is a significant filament, and there's also another prominence behind it, which is also a filamentary feature. So let's once again, and thanks to our new Twitter followers, congratulations on realizing the channel exists. Congratulations on realizing the Twitter account exists. As we play name that filament. So hit us up on Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter account, create one. If you think you're unshadow banned on Twitter, think again. It keeps requesting that we follow Elon Musk. I'm completely uninterested in his tweets and his inner thoughts and his investment nonsense and so on. Pretty sick of seeing his tweets, frankly. Not interested. And his memes are like made by a third grader. I don't know who's making these memes. We hope Elon's not making them himself because they're pretty sad. Here's the last 24 hours in the house favorite wavelength there, 171 angstroms. And let's take a look at some more recent data here from the GOES 16 SUVI with its great wide field of view. That's part of the reason why we stream it all day on the Twitch channel. And sorry about the Smash News Network logo running all day yesterday. That was a little oversight on our part. That's the last about 2.5 hours. Likelihood of major solar flares and coronal mass ejections, nearly 100%. We'll keep you posted on it. And thanks to all of our viewers, our friends, and our foes who've been viewing the channel for half a decade. Next, moving into our bonus features segment, here are the satellite charging hazards. We've got some minor surface charging hazards here over the central Pacific Ocean. Besides that, things are pretty calm, and those are only minor surface charging hazards caused by low-energy electrons on the outside of the spacecraft. Here is the 3-day electron flux graph from the GOES 16 and GOES 18. And we're coming up off the floor here, it looks like a little bit. There is the NOAA forecast for electron flux. Electron flux there forecasted by NOAA to remain flatlined here And we've got quite anomalous things going on in the Earth's upper atmosphere. We'll get to it. First, the 1-year graph of the electron flux. Kind of surprisingly low levels here. And really a low amount of material reaching Earth at the moment. We'll also take a look at the F-flare of the ionosphere and its vibrational frequency glory. There is the F-flare in megahertz. So that's what's going on at the bridge between Earth and space. The reason we show the F ionosphere layer is because that is where the GOES 16 and GOES 18 measure the electron flux. We'll also show the anomalygram, since there have been ongoing anomalies. The anomalygram might make them more obvious to you, like the South Pacific anomaly, formerly known as the South Atlantic anomaly. It's now just south of the 30 south latitude line here in the South Pacific Ocean. Somewhere in between 135 and 90 degrees west longitude. Anyway, here's the latest image. That's 12:30 Universal Time ionogram and 12:30 Universal Time anomalygram. That is anomaly in megahertz from the 30-day median. At the moment, high-frequency anomalies, largely in the northern hemisphere. Continuing on to the electron content. This is the free electrons all the way up to about 12,500 miles of altitude where your GPS satellite is located. Feel free to pause the pause the video on this image. And here is your total electron content forecast. We're seeing continued anomalies here over the Caribbean and over North America because we're seeing odd lacks of electrons. So check it out right here over the northern Caribbean. You'll see this spot right by my arrow here. Also this low electron content rift over the central U.S. It's pretty funky. Also a low electron rift here in southern South America. So some oddities there showing free electrons out of place. And this looks like the kind of thing that we would see during an extreme coronal hole high-speed stream. So expect massive GPS errors all around the world. It could be tough navigating using GPS, so turn on your Wi-Fi location accuracy if it's going to help. That's your total electron content forecast. It's the coupled thermosphere, ionosphere, plasmasphere electrodynamics model. And we'll close out the space weather section with some high-res imagery. And look at all the sunspots. Yowzers. So this is a separate group up here. So that might even be 2 sunspot groups. We're going to see the sunspot number increase once again today. So you're watching solar cycle 25, reach new highs. And you can expect another new high today. This group down here, this group down here not as large or complex. At the moment, that's only an alpha class sunspot group. And here's the full disk. As this group will set today, and again, it's quite likely to produce large flares. Let me reiterate, the most likely places to see large flares are from this region down here in the southwest and this region up here in the northeast. That's where the space weather portion ends and the meteorology portion begins. So let's take a look at sea surface temperature anomaly. So here we are on nullschool.net. We're looking at the Southern Ocean here and its sea surface temperature anomalies. It's anomalously cold over here where it borders the Pacific. And it's anomalously warm over here where it borders the Atlantic. How about the Arctic Ocean? It is largely anomalously warm although portions of it are frozen. So anyway, there is sea surface temperature anomaly for the Atlantic. Pretty hot there in the southern hemisphere with a band of cold. Equatorially, it's pretty average. There is the Indian Ocean. Indian Ocean here showing some anomalously cold areas there, especially in the northern portion. There is the Pacific, still anomalously hot here in the northern section. So that part there, 8.6 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. Nearly 9 degrees above normal there. Anyway, getting to our regularly scheduled meteorology segment, there is your surface wind scenario for the eastern world. Shout out to our viewers from this side of the planet. We don't have many. Why? Deboosting, probably. There are the jet streams of the east. Here are the jet streams of the west. Classic meridional jet stream flow happening here. Check it out. Look at that. That is classic meridional jet stream flow happening at the moment. Surface winds of the western world are looking like this. High winds all around the U.S. Gulf and Atlantic coasts. Also an onshore wind there on the Pacific coast. Here are the surface winds of the central world. And don't forget the jet streams. And let's take a look at clouds and fog over the Americas. So there is our 3.9 nanometer infrared radiation satellite. Part of the NASA GOES Interactive Weather Satellite Suite. It shows clouds and fog when it's too dark to use the visible satellite. We've got a front moving in here into the eastern portion of the U.S., sweeping out some of the moisture that is falling in Lehigh Valley at the moment. So that'll be on its way out here shortly. There is your weather.gov map. If your location is lit, click your location. And if your Twitter feed is lit, start unfollowing some of those accounts. Just kidding, folks. Just kidding. Your Twitter feed is censored. Anyway, that's your weather.gov map. And let's look at some forecasts. Here's pressure and precipitation for the lower 48. As wave after wave of moisture keeps showing up at California. So lots of damage there. We shared some information about it on the Twitter feed. And you probably didn't see it because generally nobody sees our tweets. Thanks, Elon. Thanks for fixing censorship. You're doing a fine job. A fine job. Here is total accumulated snow depth change. And heavy snows will continue. For the eastern portion of California there, expect another 3 feet or so. Also some heavy snow there coming to Nova Scotia. And about 10 inches there expected for Maine. Also the western portion of the Rockies, a lot of Colorado. Anyway, you see the thing. That's your 72-hour GFS accumulated positive snow depth change forecast in inches. And let's take a look at total accumulated precipitation here, since yowzers, there are some areas in California that are expecting an additional 7 inches of rain. Maybe even more. It looks like possibly 8 or 9 inches of rain there for portions of California. That is suboptimal for sure. Once again, thanks for leaving comments, everybody who has on the Twitch feed. Again, this video was originally streamed live to Twitch. If you didn't see it live, you can't view it because we unpublish the videos and make them exclusive for YouTube. And if you're viewing on BitChute, make sure you follow us on YouTube, as you're missing much of the content. So if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a member of the Smash Team at smashomash.com/Smash Team. We just launched it in October of 2021, not because we didn't like Patreon or because we were worried about censorship. We just needed additional capabilities. So our own website is a little beefier than Patreon. We can do all kinds of things on there that we are unable to do on Patreon. So support it. if you like, smashomash.com/SmashTeam. The best value is the annual paid-up subscription because it includes complimentary merch. It's almost like getting 4 months of a gold Smash Team membership for free. Thanks most of all to our gold annual paid-up subscribers, also all of our gold monthly subscribers, silver Smash Team members, bronze Smash Team members, which is free, by the way. We send out email alerts also at smashomash.com/SmashTeam, so check that out. Help us out with links. We are still on Patreon as well. We haven't forgotten about the credit crawl, folks. It is coming back. So Smash staff will be putting up some posts on Patreon. You can support us that way if it's more convenient for you. Thanks to everybody who has. We've got 3 tiers over there. Some people, it's just too much trouble to sign up for another subscription site. Now, if you click the link below the video to our Redbubble shop, you'll find our products in order of best selling. They may or may not reflect our political views. I mean, I don't really have, quote, political views because, well, I'm apolitical. I'm a pragmatist. I'm interested in things that work, not bureaucracies that are unable to get out of their own way. And of course, the products are designed for people to purchase them. Why did we start making them? Because reasons. Now, I was always a fan of products from Spencer Gifts when I was a kid. So congratulations on surviving a global scamdemic so far. You've been doing a fine job. And we did re-release that there. That's the image of the whole planet covered in a mask. The pathetic and infantile, ridiculous response to you-know-what. And there's no accountability, rampant corporatism and plutocracy, 2 justice systems. Fraud, propaganda, and nonsense are promoted to the tune of millions of dollars per year, probably billions of dollars per year, but certainly millions. The amount that certain YouTube channels are making. And why is all this nonsense promoted? Because reasons. Let us know in the comments if you think it's because of a depopulation agenda. Remember, folks, never blame a conspiracy on that which is more likely attributed to ignorance and stupidity. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. We want to know what you think because reasons. No, seriously, we want to know the reasons why you think what you think. So let us know. We won't censor you. We encourage all speech that's legal. Yes. We encourage all legal speech. Real free speech purists. Not somebody who wants some of your stuff censored because, well, the key to bad speech, the key to bad ideas is good ideas, not silencing the people. That doesn't work, and frankly, it's unconstitutional and ridiculous and fascistic. If you like the content, press like, subscribe, and share on YouTube. Leave us a comment. And maybe like 4 people will see the video instead of only 2 or something like that. Dear Big Tech, we insist that you fix your software because, well, with respect to YouTube, there is no alternative. Only YouTube has over 1 billion daily viewers. Thanks to our viewers on YouTube. And if you want to assist us with clicks, please do. Assist with clicks. Head to smashomash.com. You can find us all over social media. Drop us a line. Tell us what your favorite social media is, if you even use it. Have you unplugged? Let us know about that, too, in the comments. Once again, thanks everybody who left comments on the live stream. That is a little bit too much for me to cover. But thanks nonetheless. Smashomash.com is our own website, and welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. Let's take a look at, what do we want to look at here? I don't even know. How about, let's see. How about what? Satellite. What the hell does satellite mean? Oh. Yeah, satellite imagery. Let's go with that. That's pretty sweet. Give that a minute to initialize there. And there is the windy.com satellite imagery. You can see that atmospheric river taking a big trip to the south and then right back to the north where it's going to crash right into California once again. This is, if you didn't know what I was talking about, this is your atmospheric river. And yeah, that's Northern California getting kaplastered with a heck of a lot more rain than it can handle. Don't stand next to a big hill while a flood's happening. The hill could end up on top of you, and we don't want that because, well, that could be unhealthful for our viewers. Next, our NASA GOES lightning mapper. And we saw some strong lightning there in places like Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida over the past about 12 hours. And how about a real-time lightning map from lightningmaps.org? Do we got any terrestrial strikes? The answer is no. But there may be some coming to places like Cape Coral, Florida. Anyway, that's our real-time lightning map. Let's move on. We don't want the video to be too long. Here's your U.S. Doppler radar map. And there is some precipitation there off the south coast of Anchorage, Alaska. We'll focus on the lower 48 and close this mother out. There is our shortwave radiation showing clouds and fog. See that front moving through. You can see some cold air being driven into the Great Lakes states. We can expect it to be anomalously warm for most of the eastern portion of the country here for the coming couple of weeks. It looks like we're not going to get any kind of a deep freeze in January, at least not in the next week or so. There's your water vapor map. That should help to clear things up. If your Doppler is not clear, that dry mass of air there pushing that moisture out into the Atlantic as things are about to dry out in Lehigh Valley. So here is, once again, your recap. That's your U.S. Doppler radar. Here is clouds and fog. And there is water vapor. Once again, thanks for leaving comments. Twitch viewers, thanks for tuning in. YouTube viewers, once again, BitChute viewers. If you're only viewing on BitChute, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. You're missing most of our content. In any case, I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smash-O-Mash, signing off. And may that solar wind be at your back. Fact the press in this video for your convenience by Big Tech. Opinions expressed in this video, not necessarily the opinions of Smash News Network, least busted name in news.